right, I'm calling an audible, unlike our Dolphins. I'm supposed to be on vacation, but two things happened. The cuts yesterday, I had to get a talk about them or else they'd be haunting me on my vacation. And then two, I did a podcast yesterday and some people were kind of misinterpreting some of the stuff that Odaris was talking about. So I want to clarify that. But if you really want to get the full clarity, check my podcast out. I did a while back with him. Curtis gets a deep knowledge dump and about Tua and Dolphins offense. I'll put the link below. So I'm going to cover those two topics. Help you understand, because my father left when I was a kid, and I was raised by a German woman and her best friend, who was a Japanese woman straight from Japan. So I had this, unrelenting desire to serve and to just attack something all out and give my all to it. And I didn't want to leave you great viewers with poor information. I always like to correct myself and fix things, because the worst thing I could do for you is to give you inaccurate or poor information. So I'm going to get into that today. But before I do that, they say, Sun Tzu says, the worst place you could put your enemy is where there's no retreat. And that's where Curtis is right now. Curtis's drive to subscribe, to stay alive is in effect. I got to get to 10K in about 5 months to keep the show going. So please, if you can, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If you're already doing that, I am very, very grateful. If you like what I'm doing here, that's the only way I'm going to stay in business. This is their channel, not mine. They're a great company. They set things out that I need to attain. And so if you want, please help me out with that. Anyway, let's get into what we got going here today. I'll do so Odaris said he skips reads. Tua skips reads. And if you're viewing the reading process in pure progressions, which most of us think, hey, this is the read progression. When you get to the line of scrimmage, it's this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And we're going to go through those read progressions. Open, not open, not open, not open, open. That's not what we're doing here. The read progression that we have is based on coverages. And so when he said Tua skips reads, what that means is Tua's reading the defense. He knows the route combinations. And I put this in the comments. It'd be like if you're in a burning house and there's a series of exits and you see a door closed or fire in the way, you're immediately moving past it. Oh, it's no good. No, it's no good. Oh, there you go. And so Tua, whether you like it or not, whether it's the best for the Dolphins or not, this is how he applies it. Hey, they're running cover 3. The first read is a deep fly, not open. Now, he doesn't even go about it. He sees the cover 3, and he's not even really looking at the receiver. He just understands that the mixture of that coverage and that route is dead. And this read system based on coverages goes very far back. It's not something just for him. A QB school, I can't remember the guy's name, Big Time Channel, he was a former quarterback. He talks about it. It's not just Odaris, it's what we do here. And what it does is it simplifies things in a way and speeds up the reads. Now you could say because Tua can or whatever, it clearly has to be about this offensive line. But I'm not saying it's all about that, but this is what's in play. Tua has run a pure progression read system. But what we got here since McDaniel came here is reading coverages. There's strengths to it and there's weaknesses. Even in pure progression, there's strength and weaknesses. There is no perfect scheme. There is no perfect concept that applies great into all situations. So you have to understand that. There's things to knock to about. And if you understand this read and alert system that we're running, then you can more accurately attack or evaluate this offense, Tua and McDaniel. And that's the key. You want to be accurate, because if you're not accurate, then You're going to get things wrong and maybe miss things that are good about Tua and McDaniel or things that are bad about McDaniel and Tua because you're going to fixate on the wrong concepts. I did this and O'Darius straightened me out. It was a huge revelation, but it goes more than that. If we pull Tua out and put another quarterback here and you don't evaluate fairly, then you're not going to see the quarterback here properly or with other teams. Other teams run this too. This is not just Tua. So that's the key. I want you guys to understand that skipping reads means he's reading the coverage, reading the route combination, and sometimes it could be a guy's open. Maybe the coverage isn't exactly where it's supposed to be. So it's not as thorough as a pure read progression system, but it does allow you to read faster. And with this offensive line, and maybe with Tua, whatever you want to say that, it's what we do, and this is how he gets it done. This is how the soup's cooked, or boiled, or whatever. Got it? So please understand what O'Darius is saying. I'm going to put part 2 out of his podcast, and he's going to break it down. And you're going to see, yes, there are strengths, there are limitations. Strengths and limitations is better than flaws and weaknesses, or strengths and weaknesses. There's limitations to pure progression, is limitations to reading coverages. There's a limitation to alerts. There's limitations to a lot of things. No audibles, no run game, no offensive line, not having the biggest arm. But you got to create this recipe and then evaluate it fairly with what's really going on. And then you can get better as a football evaluator and then get on the things that are wrong about what's going on. Comprendez-vous? Savvy? Hope it's clear. So check out that podcast. Gives me extra view too. But it's great information. And then when you combine the 3 that O'Darius is doing, you'll fully understand what's going on here. And I do this for a living. I do this all the time. And I did not understand. But I understand football so much more now. And it will allow me to be more accurate. And it's got to always be the key. No matter how much you love or hate Tua, it's got to be about truth. It's got to be about accuracy. So we cut Mostert. We cut Fuller. We cut Smythe. We're still $5 million in the hole. There's things we can do going forward. Not all of them are great for the future, but we can still make moves. But I want to show you this graphic here. You can see, and this is Greer's way, and it's why you just got to be smart with the cap. Again, this year, $27 million in dead money, almost $28 million. Your cap shrinks $28 million. That's like a really good player and then another player on top of it. But this is wasted money. You got Howard still paying him $15 million. Kendall Fuller, $5 million. Durham Smythe, $2.6 million. Jonnu, $1.6 million. Raheem Mostert, $1 million. Odell Beckham, $895,000. Blake Ferguson, $275,000. And then 1.8 for Easy. I don't know why Jonnu is on that list. It's kind of weird. All right, so I had to cut because I had to go back and check. It didn't make sense. Why is Jonnu Smith on there for $1.6 million? I got to dig into it. I haven't had time. Still, I was in vacation mode, so maybe you guys can help me out. That is very curious. I don't understand that. Is it a misprint by them or something? It's so weird. I don't understand. So we'll leave it there. Even if you take the 1.6 off, it's still $26 million in dead money. And so now, Mostert, he had to go. He's a good player. He's still got stuff in the tank. But you've got 2 fourths on right. You've got Achane. And you got Wilson. You really don't need to put it that much into Mostert. Good player. Great player for us. But too old, too injury prone. And then you're going to take touches from young guys that you need to get the most out of. So, clearly, that's a good signing. Smythe. He was overpaid for a long time. And cutting him now creates a super thin tight end group. It really says that we are definitely going to invest in the tight end group. How? Some people are saying, and I've looked, there's not a great tight end free agent group. So it looks like we're going to invest in this draft on the tight end group. It's good that Smythe's gone. But it also says if you're cutting him now and you're only getting balance, I think it's like you're going to lose 2 points something and you're going to get 2 points something. It shows that we stuck on him too long. It's another bad evaluation of Greer. And then there's Fuller. That was a surprise. I was so surprised. I kind of understand it because of the injuries. He's old. I saw somebody say, you're complaining about Fuller being cut, but we've got all these old injured guys. It's something I've been saying for a while. You can't keep getting old guys. Older guys have a tendency to get injured. But now you've got a huge hole on your defensive back group, and it's costing you $5 million to say goodbye to him from 1 year. So it was a poor free agent addition. It was another strikeout for Greer. But what does this say? It says that now you've got a hole there in that cornerback group. You've got a very thin tight end group. You've got a thin DI group. You've got a thin offensive line. You need a backup quarterback. You need safeties. You need a linebacker. There are a lot of holes. And even at minus $5 million, the economy determines how much this cap goes up. And it was saying between 10 and 20. 30 seems to be like a reach. Maybe we get there with the bonus raise in the cap each year. But as it stands right now, at most, you're looking at like plus 15 until you do some restructures. And your draft picks are going to be about 7, maybe a little bit more-ish. So that means it only gives you $7 million to fill out all these spots. And we've got lots of holes in depth. We got lots of holes in starters. This is a very, very tough offseason for Greer to handle. But what it does say to me is that cornerback position is good. Knowing Greer, 13th overall pick, might end up being Mackay, the safety. What's his name? I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name right now. The safety looks like a guy you might want to bring in here because with Fuller out, you can't go light on these safeties. If you had Fuller, who's pretty good when he's healthy, you have Ramsey. You don't really have much else in that nickel spot. You're going to have to bolster the secondary. And I think there's a good chance that he's going to target a corner or safety at that 13 spot. Clearly, he's going to have to do it in the second round. You're not going to be able to pay for a guy. You bringing Kohu back? He's not good outside in the boundary. Late to mid-clock, he just gets left behind. A nickel guy maybe, but he's going to cost something. I think he's going to be a price. So this was a very interesting move. I think it was a move that had to kind of be done. But if you're all in for this season, that doesn't look like an all. So it could also mean that Greer is not on the hot seat like you might think. Ross might have been giving him maybe 2 to 3 years to repair this thing. So that's my overall take, guys. I appreciate everything. I will now be on vacation unless something huge happens that I am. Fingers crossed, no Dolphins news for a couple of days. And then I'll get Odaris's part 2 out tomorrow or Monday. So I appreciate everything, guys. You're the best. I felt the absolute obligation to add an addendum to what was covered in that podcast, got some talk, and then to do this because you guys matter to me and because I got like OCD. Anyway, Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.